friends, this is Dr. BTP Madhav. I am Professor and Associate Dean Academic Research at KL deemed to be University. So today I am going to give the digital logic and processor related the topics which we have to study and what is the importance of this particular topics, these topics, and significance of some of the modules that are available in digital. Those things I will discuss today. So here if you see, this is the entire syllabus for our KL deemed to be University for digital logic and process. Here for CO1 we have design of processors, modules, microprocessors, programmable logic devices, organization of the microcomputer, logic gates, and design of data processing and logic modules. These things are there in CO1. And if you come to the CO2, the design of the memory and the modeling of the memory and registers using flip-flops, timing and sequence control modules, and counters, synchronous counters, asynchronous counters, and ring counter, Johnson counter, and these things are there in the CO2. So for test 1 related, CO1 and CO2 completed, and test 2 related, so we have CO3 and CO4. And CO4 consisting of design of programmable logic devices and the modules, logic modules, and implementation of PROM, PLA, PAL kind of devices, PLD devices, and FPGAs, CPLDs. These are the things that we have in the CO3. And next, coming to the CO4, CO4 is entirely dedicated towards the optimization of the circuits that you have studied, optimization of the modules, and mostly you will optimize the logic modules using Boolean algebra, and you will optimize using the Karnaugh maps, local and global logic and circuit optimization techniques, and programmable logic device optimization, state diagrams, all these kind of things. So we will see in the CO4. So today I will mostly concentrate on CO3 and CO4 related things, where my concentration will start with the design implementation related to PROM, PLA, and PALs, and circuit level optimization techniques. But before going to this, just a basic regarding the memory modules and some of the counters and registers, those topics I will revise, and after that I will enter to this. Yeah. So memory unit. First of all, you should understand what is the purpose of this memory unit, and in digital logic devices how this is important. So generally any circuit you take in digital logic, there are two types of things will be there. One is the combinational logic and second one is the sequential logic circuits. The difference between these two circuits are the combinational logic circuits will be constructed based on the digital gates, whatever digital gates that you have studied. You have 7 gates: AND gate, OR gate, NOT gate, XOR gate, XNOR gate, NAND gate, NOR gate. Using those gates, if you construct any circuit, those circuits will comes under combinational logic circuits. Combinational logic circuits are the circuits which will be constructed purely with digital gates. And on the other hand, we have another circuits, those circuits we call as sequential logic circuits. Those sequential logic circuits having a different setup. That means those are having digital gates. The construction of combinational sequential logic circuits involved digital gates and feedback circuits and memory units. Combination of all these will give the sequential logic circuits. In the sequential logic circuits, first of all you have to understand the memory units. So the memory unit is most important thing. These memory units we will construct using flip-flops and latches. So if you look at the sequential logic circuit, this will be the sequential logic circuit overview. So a combinational logic circuit will be there, a flip-flop will be there, and a feedback. If you see, a feedback also will be there to the combinational logic circuit. Altogether these kind of circuits we call as sequential logic circuits, which is having input to combinational logic circuit, and sometimes we will take direct output, and sometimes we will store that data in the flip-flop, and after storing the data you will process that data for your next operation. Next time whenever you are giving inputs, along with that inputs you will give the whatever data that you have stored previously. So for that purpose we are using the flip-flops. So here the memory modules are flip-flops. And before going to the flip-flops, just I will give just I will give the overview regarding how these flip flops and these devices will be triggered. Triggered means you have to apply some clock pulse, and what are the different types of clock pulses that we have. Okay. So, how these clock pulses will be applied, those things we will see. So, here these things we call as the types of triggering. Under types of triggering we have level triggering and we have edge triggering. Two techniques are there. If you look at these two blocks, here the triggering, this flip flop, this is one flip flop, this flip flop is triggered, some clock pulse is applied. Whenever you are applying clock pulse, this clock pulse consisting of a negative time period as well as the positive, negative level and positive level, two levels will be there. So, whenever this clock pulse is applied in the positive level, that means in this period, if this device is going to be triggered, this device is going to come into the operation, then we call that as a positive level triggering. If you look at this particular signal, in this signal this is the positive portion and this is the negative portion, or this is the positive level, or we call this as a negative level. In this positive level only this device will get the clock pulse. So, if that kind of thing is there, we call this as a positive level trigger or high level triggering we call. On the other hand, we have low level triggering. In low level triggering, whenever signal is at low level, in this period if this device is going to get the triggering, then we call this as a low level triggering and negative triggering. And on the other hand, we have edge triggering. We have two types of edge triggering methods. One edge triggering method is the positive edge triggering. Whenever signal is moving from 0 to 1, in that time period, if this device is getting the clock, that type of triggering we call as positive edge triggering. So, compared to the level triggering, the edge triggering time is very, very less. In positive level, if you see here, so some time period is there. In that time period, this will be triggered. But if you look at this here, when signal is changing from 0 to 1, in that particular period, the device is getting the triggering. So, edge triggering is faster than compared with the level triggering, and this is the positive edge and this is the negative edge. When signal is moving from 1 to 0, in that period if this device is getting if this device is triggering, then we call this as a negative edge triggering. So, these are the triggering methods. And coming to the memory units, already told that these we have two memory devices, latches and flip flops. A latch, basic latch will be like this. A NAND gate based latch is given here. The latch consisting of two inputs S and R, this is SR latch, and two outputs Q and Q bar. Out of these two outputs, Q is the actual output. Q is the actual output, and if you look at this, the table of this SR latch, when inputs are 0 0, so that case we are calling as invalid, because Q and Q bar both are showing, both will give 1. So, if Q is 1, Q bar should be 0. If this is 1, this should be 0, and this is 0, this should be 1. Both should be inverse to each other. But when SR 0 0 is applied, both you are getting 1. So, that is why this case we consider as invalid case. And when 0 1 is applied, this latch will be in the set state, that means Q value will be 1. In that case, Q bar will be 0. When 1 0 is applied, then 0 you will get at output, that means Q value 0 and Q bar will be 1. So, these two states we call as set and reset state. Whenever output becomes 1, we call that state as set state, and whenever output becomes 0, that state we call as reset state. And when SR values, both the input values are 1 1, then you will get Q naught, that means whatever previous value you have, the same value you will get. That case we call as no change state. So, this is the latch. A latch is a clock input. If this latch is converted into the with clock, connected with clock, then we call that as a flip flop. So, the difference between latch and flip flop you can see here. The main difference is latches are not having any clock pulse, but flip flops are having clock pulse, and latch is one kind of permanent storage device, and flip flop is semi permanent storage device. And just look at the SR flip flop is given here. Just I will give the overview regarding this. SR flip flop, if you look at SR flip flop with NOR gate construction is given here, and a clock pulse is applied here. Whenever clock pulse is given, then if you can take positive level or negative level, or positive edge or negative edge based on your design. And in this case a clock pulse is applied. Just look at the SR flip flop table here. According to this table, when 0 0 is applied as input and the next state q of t plus 1 means next state. The next state will be the previous state only, q of t. So, when 0 0 is applied, output is no change, previous value only will be repeated. When 0 1 is given as input, output is 0, this state we call as reset state. When 1 0 is applied as input, output you will get 1, that means this is the set state, and when 1 1 is applied, invalid case. Invalid case means, so if q value is 0, q bar should be 1, but when you apply 1 1 as input for SR flip flop, both values you will get 1 1 or both values you will get 0 0, that is not valid. So, that is why when SR flip flop is taken, when 1 1 is applied as input, that state we call as invalid state. And look at the characteristic table of the flip flop here. So, when the output, when the present output and next output is like this, what will be the input? So, that we will predict from the characteristic table. Here you can see here, when previous value is present output is 0 and next value is also 0, in that case SR values are 0 0 and present value is 1 and next value is also 1. That means state you are not changing, value is not changing. For present output and next output values are same, in that case SR values are 0 0. And look at here, when present value is 0 and next value is 0, and when present value is 1 and next value is 0, that means in this case what is going on, the next value is becoming 0. When the next value will become 0? When this input value is 0 1. And similarly the remaining cases are given here, and the characteristic equation according to this characteristic equation is q of t plus 1. The next state of this SR flip flop output, if you want to take, the formula is S plus R bar into Q. So, just apply S R and R bar and Q values here and you will get the next state. This is the SR flip flop characteristic table. And this is the JK flip flop arrangement. The JK flip flop with respect to the NAND gate is given, and when clock pulse is applied, so these things, the characteristic table is given here. If the present state is this, what is the next state, that is given. If so, this is the truth table of JK flip flop. According to the JK flip flop, when 0 0 is the input, output is no change. When input is 0 1, output is 0. When input is 1 0, output is 1. That means the first 3 cases of JK flip flop is almost similar to the equal to the SR flip flop. But the last state, if you look at the last state, there is a difference in the last state for JK flip flop. When 1 1 is applied as input for JK flip flop, output toggles. Output toggles means what? So, one time this Q value will be 0 and Q bar will be 1. If you give another clock pulse, this will become 1 and this will become 0. If you give another clock pulse, again this will be 0 and this will be 1. That means every time Q and Q bar values will change when clock pulse is applied. So, this kind of thing we call as triggering. And this is the characteristic equation. According to this characteristic equation, the next state, the next output, if you want to find out, q of t plus 1 is j q bar plus k bar into q. If you apply those values here, you will get the next state. If you know the present state and what inputs you are applying, then you can predict the next state using this particular equation. And coming to the next one is the D flip flop. D flip flop we call as delay flip flop. So, delay flip flop the D flip flop can be constructed using JK flip flop. To the inputs of J and K, if you connect a NOT gate, then you will get a chance to apply only one input. So, that input state we are calling as D input. And this is the block diagram of D flip flop, one input, clock pulse, Q and Q bar as outputs. So, D flip flop operation is very simple. Whatever input you give, output is same. Suppose if D value is 0, input is 0, if you apply clock pulse, the next value, the output value will be 0 only. If D value is 1, if you give clock pulse, the next value will become 1. That means, whatever input you apply and immediately if you apply the clock pulse, then input only will be projected at output. So, this is the characteristic equation of D flip flop. It is nothing but output next state q of t plus 1 is nothing but whatever input you are applying, D only. So, delay flip flop, D flip flop. And next flip flop is the T flip flop. This flip flop we call as toggle flip flop. the JK flip flop can be converted into T flip flop by connecting J and K terminals, by shorting J and K terminals. So, that input we call as a T input. So, this is the table of T flip flop. So, T flip flop is nothing but JK flip flop first case and last case. So, and D flip flop is nothing but JK flip flop middle two cases. So, according to this T flip flop, when input is 0 and present state is 0, the next value is also 0. If T value is 0 and the present value is 1, present output is 1, the next output will become 1. And similarly, when T value is 1, that means whenever T is in 0, it will produce the same value at the output, that means no change will be there. When T value becomes 1, depending on the present output, next output will be toggled, that means when T is equal to 1, if present output is 0, next output will become 1. If present output is 1, next output will become 0. So, when T value is 1, it will work as a, it will take the operation of toggling. When T value is 0, it will take the no change case. And this is the characteristic equation of T flip flop. The next state Q of T plus 1 is equal to XOR operation between T and Q. If you do XOR operation between T and Q, you will get the next output. Okay. And after knowing the flip flops characteristic equation, what is the operation, what are the inputs, what are the outputs and all these, the next important thing is the excitation table. This excitation table will tell you if the present output is this and next output is this, what are the corresponding inputs for that. So, these excitation tables are very important because you will use these tables in the design of the counters. When you design counters, you need these excitation table, especially when you are designing synchronous counters. So, just look at the excitation tables of these flip flops. So, if present output is 0 and next output is also 0, in that case the S and R values will be for SR flip flop will be 0x. That means, in the place of x if you put 0, so present value 0, next value 0, this will comes under no change case. And present value 0, next value 0, when it will happen? When input is 0, SR values inputs 0, 1 case also it will happen. So, when inputs of SR flip flop is 0, 1, in that case output is 0. So, that is why when present output is 0, next output is 0, the inputs of the SR will be 0x, x may be 0, x may be 1. So, similarly, the remaining cases are given for SR flip flop, and look at the D flip flop, a D flip flop present output 0, next output 0, so input is 1, 0, present output 0, next output 1, in that case D value is 1. So, it is simple, as simple, whatever Q of T plus 1 is there, the same will be D value. It is very easy to understand. And next one is for JK flip flop. For JK flip flop, this is the excitation table. So, I will take this case 1 0, present value is 1 and next value is 0. When it will happen? When inputs are 0 1 and when inputs are 1 1, it will happen. That is why the JK flip flop inputs are x 1. Similarly, for remaining cases. And last one is the T flip flop. In T flip flop also the thing is very simple. When the next value, just look at here, when Q of T plus 1 value is 0, T value will be 0. When Q of T plus 1 value is 1, your T value will be 1. When present outputs are zeros. When present outputs are 1 and the next output is 0, in that case T value will become input value is 1 and present output is 1, next output is 1, in that case T value will be 0. Here the toggling is happening, So, here the same values are projecting, that means here no change case, this is the toggling case. So, after that whenever you are using the flip flop, a particular flip flop in the design of any circuit, you should understand what are all the inputs that it is having and what kind of arrangement that you have to do before using that flip flop in the actual operation. So, if you take any flip flop, the flip flop, suppose in this case D flip flop is taken, what are the things D flip flop is having? D flip flop is having input D input line, it is having clock input line and it is having one line that is preset and a bubble is there. Okay, I will explain what is the meaning of this bubble. And clear is there, here on the clear bar is there, here also on the PR bar is there. That means preset and clear, these two things will work with negative logic. That means whenever you apply 0, then preset will be active. Whenever you apply 0, then clear will be active. That means whenever you want to clear this particular flip flop, you have to apply 0 to this particular line, then 0 bar will become 1 and clear will be active. And whenever you want to preset, you have to send 0, then 0 bar will 1 and the value. Preset means you are setting that flip flop as 1. Clear means you are clearing that flip flop contents and you are making it 0. So, just look at this table. According to this table, whenever PR is 1 and clear 0, whenever you apply preset is equal to 1, that means 1 bar is 0, that preset will not work. But you are giving clear value 0. Whenever you are giving clear value 0, the contents will be cleared. But look at the here, D value is x, clock value is x. So, in that case the next value will be 0 only. Why next value is 0? Because you are making clear this flip flop, you are making clear, you are sending signal 0. And next preset is 0, you are presetting the flip flop and you are not clearing this flip flop. So, clear activates when you apply 0, and whatever may be the D and clock conditions, the next state will be 1, because you are activating preset here. So, these two cases, apart from these two cases, if you take you do not want to preset, you do not want to clear, you want to take the actual operation of the flip flop, then put both PR and clear in 1. Whenever you make both PR and clear 1, so then whatever input you apply, that output you will get, because this is D flip flop. And when PR and clear are 1 and D value is 1, that value will be projected out output. That means when you want to take the actual operation of D flip flop or any flip flop, you have to connect 1 to PR and clear. If you want to set intentionally, activate PR. If you want to clear the content, activate clear. So, just we understood till now what is meant by memory, what are the flip flops that we have to design any circuits, okay, any sequential circuits. So far we have seen SR flip flop, JK flip flop, D flip flop, T flip flop and all these flip flops, and now we will see those flip flops operation in the counters. So, if you look at this, the applications of counter, so where these counters will be used, whenever you are counting any particular operation or number of events, how many events are conducted, if you want to have a count, then you should have one device, that device name is counter. This counter is very, very important, because so many operations we will do in a particular sequence. If you want to count each operation, you require one circuit, that circuit is the counter. So, for example, here some input you are applying, how many inputs you are applying, how many operations you are doing, if you want to understand, then you require one circuit. That circuit will take care of how many operations that you are doing. So, the counter will produce the output, and with respect to counter you will understand how many operations are done. And so many, suppose for example, a simple example I am showing here, suppose rocket launching, at this time they will count the time, okay. So, 10, 9, 8 like that they will count, okay. So, seconds wise, minutes wise, hours wise, days wise they will count, and at a particular instant, at a particular time it will be launched. And like that, just look at another example, another application. You want to design a digital watch, in the digital watch or in the digital counter. So, just look at here the seconds are changing, okay. So, 53, 54, 55 like that seconds are changing. So, whenever it reaches to the 60, then the minutes will change. Whenever this minutes reaches to 60, then this hours will change. Like that, this kind of devices, if you want to construct a digital watches kind of thing, digital measurement, number of operations kind of thing, if you want to have a then we have to use these counters. So, hours, minutes, seconds, and a clock generator is connected. One Hertz clock generator is connected to this divide by 60 counter, 1 ppm is connected to divide by 60 counter, 1 pph is connected to divide by this hour counter. So, like that, so many applications, wherever you go, the digital counting related operations will give the give a glance regarding what operations that you are doing, how many operations you are doing. And a digital counter is a counter which will be constructed with the help of a set of flip flops will be taken, and using those flip flops we will construct one counter, and this counter will do the desired operation. Yeah, so coming to the counters are of two types we have. One is the asynchronous counter and second one is the synchronous counter. And the difference between these two is, whenever you are designing asynchronous counter, all flip flops will not be connected to a common clock. First flip flop will get the clock pulse, and second flip flop will get the clock pulse from first flip flop output, and third flip flop will get the clock pulse from second flip flop. So, like that the connection will be there. And in the synchronous counters, if you take synchronous counter, in the synchronous counter all flip flops will be connected to a common clock point. Once you apply the clock pulse, all counters will get the clock pulse, and all the flip flops are not clocked simultaneously. Here all the flip flops will be clocked simultaneously. And asynchronous counter design is very easy, simple. Construction is very easy, only you have to understand the logic. If you understand that logic, construction of asynchronous counter is easy. But synchronous counter design is little bit difficult because it involved so many steps. First we have to take the table present state, next states. After that you have to, using excitation table, you have to identify the inputs, and after identifying the inputs you have to solve it. That means you have to optimize it. You will get one equation. That equation based flip flop based circuit you have to construct for the synchronous counter. So, it is little bit difficult, or it is not, I will not say difficult, I will say that this is complex and this is easy. So, but here is this is the main drawback is speed is lower, but here is the speed is higher. So, first one we will see the ripple counter. Asynchronous counter, another name is ripple counter. So, how to construct this we will see a ripple counter. Just look at this arrangement. Here 3 JK flip flops are taken, I want to construct this particular operation. So, what is that operation? First I want to produce 0 0 0, and after that one increment I will take 0 0 1, and after that 0 1 0, like that every time one value it is incrementing, and finally it is ending with 1 1 1, because in 3 bit the minimum value is 0 0 0, maximum value is 1 1 1. According to 2 power n formula, 2 power 3 equal to 8. So, 3 bits are used here. So, whenever I want to count, I want to project numbers 0 0 0 to 1 1 1, I want to count 8 values. I have to construct one particular counter, that counter is this. Okay. So, this counter is constructed with JK flip flops. Look at the arrangement. One JK flip flop is taken, a clock pulse is applied to JK flip flop, and this is edge triggered, and that also negative edge triggered. And look at here, J and K terminals is shorted and connected to logic 1. That means this JK flip flop I am going to use in toggle mode. Toggle mode means when 1 is applied here, J and K will get 1 and output will become 0 at one stage. When you give another clock pulse by keeping 1 1 at JK, then output will become 1. That means output toggles. So, I am going to operate these JK flip flops in that mode. That is why first flip flop is getting the clock, edge triggered clock, and JK are shorted and connected to logic 1. In the similar way, second JK flip flop, third JK flip flop, JK inputs are shorted and connected to logic 1. That means all JK flip flops are operating in the toggle mode. And look at the clock that is connected here. First flip flop is getting clock pulse directly, but second flip flop is getting clock pulse from the output of first flip flop, and third flip flop is getting clock pulse from the output of second flip flop. So, this kind of arrangement we call as asynchronous clock. So, just look at the clock input that you are applying. Already I told that I am going to use in the negative edge triggering. Just look at the input, clock input. Whenever clock is falling from top to bottom, that means positive level to negative level, in that case you will get the output. So, that is why you can see here, whenever clock is falling from 1 to 0, in that case the device, the outputs will be activated. So, clock pulse applied accordingly. So, in this the simple operation is simple. When you apply clock pulse, initially Q naught value will be 0. So, if it is 0, it will not be activated, this clock will not be activated. When Q1 is 0, it will not be activated. So, the outputs will be 0 0 0. At Q2, Q1, Q naught, the values will be 0 0 0. Whenever you apply the next clock pulse, it will trigger. Now, Q naught will become 1, Q naught will become 1. Earlier value will go here, so it will not be in the operating mode, and it also will not be in the operating mode. In that case, you will get 0 0 1. These two flip flops are at 0 and this flip flop is at 1. Now, by applying another clock pulse, this Q naught will become 0 and the earlier output Q naught value 1 will trigger, and this will come into operation, and this Q1 will become 1 now. So, that is why next output is 0 1 0. So, this is 0, this is 1, this is 0. By applying next clock pulse, earlier value of Q naught is 0. So, now it will become 1 and next flip flop will not change, this state will not change and it is not triggered. So, that is why the Q2 value is 0. So, that means in the next stage you are getting 0 1 1. So, like that every time whenever you apply clock pulse, this flip flop triggers. Just look at Q naught, 1 time 0, 1 time 1, 1 time 0, 1 time 1, like that. So, whenever 1 comes here, that will trigger the next flip flop and that will be in the active mode. Whenever it is getting 0, next flip flops are getting 0, it will be remain in the same state. So, like that we will get all these values 0 0 0, 0 0 1, 0 1 0, like that all values. So, whenever reaches to 1 1 1, if you give another clock pulse, again it will become 0 0 0. So, this is a simple ripple counter, a 3-bit counter, and we call this as a up counter also, because value starting with 0 and ending with 1 1 1. This is the down counter. If you want to construct a down counter, up counter will be, it starts with 0 0 0, down counter will start with 1 1 1. It will start with maximum value and every time value will be decremented. So, first time 7, next 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Again the cycle repeats. If you want to construct that kind of counter, so then you have to apply, just look at the clock pulse connected, and JK flip flops are also operating in the toggle mode, but look at the flip flop triggering, how it is. Instead of taking Q naught as input for the clock, here it is taken Q naught bar, exactly reverse. When Q naught is equal to 0, then Q naught bar will be 1. That is the logic here. And this flip flop also, instead of connecting Q1 to the clock, Q1 bar is connected here. So, whenever this negative outputs, that means inverse outputs are connected to the next flip flops as a clock pulse, then the value starts with 1 1 1 and every time value will decrement and finally end with 0 0 0. Yeah, whenever you want to design a counter, so it starts, suppose you want to design a 3-bit counter. 3-bit counter starts with 0 0 0 and ends with 1 1 1. If you design a 4-bit counter, 4-bit counter starts with 0 0 0 0 and ends with 1 1 1 1. So, it starts at a minimum value and every time increments up to maximum value it will go, and after that again the same sequence will repeat. But you want to design a particular counter where you want to count only a minimum number. That means, suppose you have taken a 3-bit counter, it starts with 0, ends with 7. You want to count only 5 numbers, you do not want to count all 8 numbers, you want to stop your counter at middle and you want to count only 5 numbers. In that case, if you want to design a counter, that design we call as mod counter, that counter we call as mod counter. So, mod counter, suppose for example, here your outputs, you want to have outputs like this. So, just look at here, first value starts with 0 0 0, next value increments 0 0 1, 0 1 0, 0 1 1, 1 0 0, 1 0 1. That means 0 1 2 3 4 5, total 6 values. After this, the next value, the next value is 1 1 0 and next value is 1 1 1. Those values we are skipping, those values, and just we are counting only 6 numbers, and after that again it starts with 0 0 0. If this kind of arrangement if you want to do, the best way is using the NAND gate in a proper way. So, already I told that for these flip flops you have 2 special inputs, one is the preset, another one is the clear. So, that means what you have to do, you have to start with 0 0 0 and you have to increment whenever value reaches to 101. So, the next value should become the counter value, the flip flop value should become 0. If you make the flip flop value 0, then again it starts with 0 0 0. So, this logic can be implemented using a NAND gate. Using NAND gate you can implement that. NAND gate logic is very simple. When both the inputs of the NAND gate are 0, then only output will become 1. Then only output will become. So, when both the inputs, suppose if you apply for NAND gate, suppose if you apply 0 0, 0 into 0, output is 1. 1 value 0, 0 into 1, 0, bar is 1. So, that means when both the inputs become 1, then only output will become 0. When both inputs are 1, then only output will become 0. Whenever this output becomes 0, that output 0, if you connect to the clear signal, then what happens? All the flip-flop data will be cleared. This logic is used. So, to design mod 6 counter, what we have done is, so initially the normal up counter is constructed, and a NAND gate is taken, and this to this NAND gate, initially we designed, we thought that we have to start with 0 0 0 and the value should end with 101. So, if you look at 101, so this one is at Q0 and this one is at Q2, that means Q1 value is 0. That means what values I have to take here? So, I have to take this Q0 and Q2. Suppose you want to project only 100 up to 100, then you have to take Q0 Q2. But what is your next value? The next value is 110. That means Q2 value and Q1 value become 1. Whenever 110 arrives, you want to clear the counter. So, what you have to do is take 110, assume that 110 is here. So, if you take 110, 1 and 1, Q2, Q1, when Q2 and Q1 becomes 1, then this counter should be reset. That means counter should be cleared. So, keeping that in your mind, take Q1 and Q2, connect those two to NAND gate. So, if you look at this Q1 and Q2, initially both are zeros. When both are zeros, the output is 1, then clear will not be activated. Here also both are 0. Here is any one of the value is 0. Any one of the value input is 0, automatically output will become 1 and it will not clear the flip-flop. So, intentionally what we have done is Q2, Q1, whenever Q2 and Q1 becomes 1, for that case, in that case, we are going to clear the flip-flop. So, when this becomes 110, that means whenever Q1, Q2 becomes 1, then automatically what happens, this NAND gate output will become 0 and this 0 will go to all the clear and flip-flops contents will be erased. Flip-flop will be cleared. Okay? So, using this logic you can construct any counter. Suppose you want to construct mod 5 counter, then what you will do? You will take 101 value, 101 means Q0 and Q2 are ones, okay? And you will connect here Q0 and Q2. Suppose you want to construct mod 4 counter, then what you will do? You will take like this. You will connect only Q2. So, you will short these two terminals and connect to Q2. Then what happens? After 4, the fifth value it will not give. So, like that, whatever counter you want to construct, take at what value you want to stop the counter, take that number, wherever ones are there, those values you connect to NAND gate. This is the simple logic to construct mod counters. So, here another it is given, mod 10 counter is given. 10 means you know that the value is 1010. So, look at here 0000 to 1001, that means 0 to 9 is displayed. Whenever it becomes 10, that means 1010, then the counter will be cleared. So, for that what we have to do? First we have to take, assume that what is that number 10, 1010, that means Q3 is 1, Q1 is 1. So, that is why Q3, Q1 are connected to NAND gate and this NAND gate output is connected to clear signal of all the flip-flops. It is very simple logic. So, at what number you want to stop, take that number, wherever ones are there, those ones related outputs you connect to NAND gate and output of the NAND gate connect to clear. It is very simple technique. Next. And next one is the synchronous counters. Already told that asynchronous counters are very easy, because suppose you want to count from 0 to 7, you take 3 bits, 3 flip-flops. You want to count from 0 to 15, in that case you take 4 flip-flops. Suppose you want to stop your operation at middle, at what value you want to stop, take that number and connect that wherever ones are there, connect to NAND gate and get the operation. Asynchronous counters are very easy, but synchronous counters are a little bit difficult, because in synchronous counters you have to do lot of things. Just look at the synchronous counter construction here. A synchronous counter is constructed, a simple synchronous counter 0 0 0 to 1 1 1. It will count from 0 to 7. Total 8 values it is going to count. So, this is the arrangement of synchronous counter. If you look at the arrangement of synchronous counter, here also JK flip flops are used, and first JK flip flop is connected with shorted J and K terminals connected to logic 1, and clock pulse is connected to this flip flop, and same clock is connected to second, same clock is connected to third. If clock pulses are connected parallelly and clock is going to each flip flop at same time, then this kind of arrangement we call as synchronous counter design. But this is not that much simple. It is giving clock pulse is very simple, but construction of synchronous counter is difficult. If you want to construct this particular counter, behind this you have to do lot of things. Okay. Next, go back. Yeah. So, first what we have to do is, first we have to take this table of present outputs, and beside that you have to take another table. That table is next outputs Q2, Q1, Q0. The present outputs are 0 0 0. So, that the next outputs will be 0 0 1. If the present output is 0 0 1, next output will be 0 1 0. So, like that first we have to make a table, first you have to prepare a table. After that what we have to do is Q0 column of present state, Q0 column of next state. These two you have to compare with respect to the excitation table, and you have to put what is J0. If you take this as J0 and K0, what is J0, what is K0, you have to keep. And after that you have to compare Q1 column of present state, Q1 column of next state, and after comparing these two you have to fix what is J1, K1. And you have to compare Q2 of present state, Q2 of next state, and with respect to that you have to calculate what is J2, K2. So, after taking that table inputs, you have to solve each column with Karnaugh map or using Boolean algebra, whichever is comfortable, but Karnaugh map is simple in these counters. Using Karnaugh map you have to solve, and after solving that you will get equations for that. After solving we got J0, K0 value 1, and J1, K1 of Q0, J2, K2 of Q1 into Q0. So, that is why what we have done is J0, K0, these two are connected to logic 1. I told that these two are connected to logic 1. Why? Because after solving we got J0, K0 is equal to 1. That is why J0, K0 connected to logic 1. What about J1, K1? J1, K1 is connected, should be connected to Q0. That is why Q0 is connected to J1, K1. Look at here. J1, K1 are connected to Q0. Next, if you look at J2, K2, J2, K2 are connected to Q1 into Q0. This line is Q0 line and this line is Q1 line. These two are connected to AND gate because the relation is product here, and the output of AND gate is connected here. That means J2, K2 is nothing but Q1 into Q0. Like that we have to make the arrangement. So, now if you give the clock pulse, for the first clock pulse you will get 0 0 0, second clock pulse 0 0 1, next clock pulse 0 1 0, like that you will get all this sequence of values. Suppose you want to construct a frequency division, a counter used for the frequency division. In that case what you have to do is you take JK flip flops. Okay. So, for example, the clock input is 800 hertz, 800 hertz. Okay. So, now look at here, this JK flip flop clock is connected. Okay. So, all clear and PS presets, first you have to make all clears and preset value 1, then flip flop will not be cleared, flip flop will not be set in condition, and all J and K should be connected to 1. Just look at here, these J and K's, all J and K's connect to logic 1, and here if you look at here, this is 1S. Okay. So, that means what it is doing here, it will be divided with 2, 400 hertz. So, you are applying 800 hertz. So, division of 2, so then it is 400 hertz here, and next one is it is 200, that means division of 4. This is divided by 2, divided by 4, divided by 8, divided by 16. So, whatever this 800 hertz clock pulse you are applying, that will be divided. So, at the first flip flop divided by 2 will happen, at second flip flop divided by 4, divided by 8, next and next divided by 16. So this is 1s, 2s, 4s, 8s, like that. So here the frequency division will be done. So whenever you take output from here, you will get 400 Hz. Whenever you take output from here, you will get 200 Hz. Whenever you take output 100 Hz, whenever you take 50 Hz. So whatever frequency that you have applied, 800 Hz, if you want to divide, then using this construction you can do that. If you want to construct counter using the IC 7493, using 7493 you have to make this arrangement. So clock will be given to the clock input and supply VCC and ground to the corresponding places, and after that just look at here. So if that arrangement if you make, then QA is this and QB is this, second one QC and QD. So 1s, 2s, 4s and 8s. So here the division will be done. So this, when you are doing the practical, then you can realize these things using 7493 IC. So this is about the counters. Counters you can construct asynchronous counter, you can construct synchronous counters. So after knowing flip-flops, after knowing counters, and after already you have completed registers of different types, serial in, serial out, serial in, parallel out, parallel in, serial out, parallel in, parallel out, those registers, bidirectional registers, shift registers, universal shift registers. Okay. So after knowing all these things, Johnson counter, ring counter and all these things, the next one is the programmable logic devices. So for this test 2 you have this programmable logic devices, and these programmable logic devices are very essential, because suppose if some circuit, some problem is given to you and ask you to construct a circuit, if it is a simple one you will construct, but if the circuit length is more and you have to use a lot of components, in those cases it is difficult to construct big circuits. So in those cases we will go with the programmable logic devices. Okay. So the problems using the basic gates is given here, many components on PCB, so many components will be there, that is the difficult thing, and in so many interconnections you have to make, the size of the PCB will increase, so many problems are associated. So that is why we will go with the programmable logic devices. If you go with the programmable logic devices, then what happens, in a single device you can implement the circuit, whatever circuit that is given to you, you can implement. Suppose if I ask you to construct a full adder, you can construct. Suppose if I add a binary to gray converter, you can implement. The same module, whatever module is there, in that same module, by changing the connections, by changing the switches operation, you can construct n number of circuits. So that kind of universal circuits are required. So those circuits we call as programmable logic devices. According to your program, logic can be changed. Logic can be changed. So a programmable logic devices, programmable logic array, if you take, there are three types of things are there. One is the simple programmable logic device, complex programmable logic device, and FPGA, field programmable gate arrays. Three types of things are there. If you take a simple PLD, if you want to construct a simple PLD, programmable logic device, again three types of things are involved in the simple PLD. One is the PROM. I will explain in this PROM which one is fixed, which one is variable, and what is the operation, I will explain. But initially at starting, try to understand, if you want to have a programmable logic array, you have three ways. Either you can go with simple PLD, or you can go with complex programmable logic device, CPLD, or you can go with FPGA. If you are going with simple programmable logic devices, you have PROMs, programmable read-only memory, and you have PLA, programmable logic array, and you have programmable array logic. Three types of circuits are available, three types of modules are available. And next, if you take a programmable device, programmable logic device, it will be like this. I am showing the block diagram to you. It consisting of number of inputs, programmable logic device, and consisting of number of outputs, and in between, in this module, so inputs, apart from inputs and outputs, the internal things is so many logic gates will be there, and a programmable switches will be there. That means a bunch of logic gates and switches will be there, so many gates. If you want to connect one gate to another gate, then these switches will help you. So how you are switching, based on that a particular logic will be generated. So a programmable logic device block diagram is this, which consisting of number of inputs, number of outputs, and in that programmable logic device you have gates and interconnection switches. And you have three types already. I told that simple programmable logic device, programmable read-only memory PROM, programmable array logic PAL, and programmable logic array. And if you take programmable read-only memory, in the programmable read-only memory, inputs will be given to the fixed AND gate array. A decoder kind of circuit will be there. Input side AND gates are fixed. You cannot make your custom input arrangement. So already input side AND gates are fixed. The address is fixed. But what is the flexibility? You have programmable OR gate at the output side. OR gates are programmable. That means suppose 10 AND gate outputs are there. If you want to take first AND gate output and 10th AND gate output, you can make connection. That means output side you have flexibility, not at the input side. On input side AND gates are fixed, address is fixed. That is why in programmable read-only memories, in our computers we will use the PROMs, where what PROMs these devices consisting of? These devices consisting of programs related to the system. System related programs will be there. So those are fixed. Suppose a mouse related drivers once you have, so that is fixed, how it has to work. A keyboard related things are fixed. So all these things are fixed. So their address locations, and in that address locations what is the function of that device, those things are fixed. So that is why input side AND gate array is fixed, this is fixed. But what is the flexibility you have? Output side OR gate array is programmable in PROM. In the next case, programmable array logic. So AND gate is programmable. Input side you can have the flexibility. AND gates you can connect anywhere, any connections you can take, any type of connection. But OR gates are fixed. That means you have AND gate outputs, 5 to 6 outputs. The first gate, fourth gate, fifth gate will be connected to one OR gate. That is fixed. Output side it is fixed. You cannot make the changes here. So OR gates are fixed to a particular output of the AND gate. These are fixed, you cannot change this. But what you can change, input side, inputs can be connected to any combination, any location. So that is the flexibility here. Next. Next one is the programmable logic array. In this AND gate side you have the flexibility, you can connect to any, and OR gate side also you have the flexibility. So that means input side you have the flexibility, you can switch, output side also you can switch, you can make your own arrangement here. So these are the three types we have. In the PROM, AND gates are fixed, OR gates are programmable. In PAL, AND gates are programmable, OR gates are fixed, and in the PAL, this is programmable logic array, PLA, not PAL, programmable logic array. In programmable logic array, both are programmable. So we start with programmable read-only memory, PROM. In the PROM, fixed AND gates, programmable OR gates are there. OR gates are there. Just I am showing one example to you. Here a problem is given, A of x, y, z is equal to sigma m 5, 6, 7. Sum of product form, min term is followed, 5, 6, 7. The meaning is, so A value, whatever A output you are taking, that value will become 1. That A value will become 1. When inputs are 5 or 6 or 7, when these inputs are applied, 5 or 6 or 7 inputs, if for those cases your output should be 1. And similarly B of x, y, z. So B value will, B output will become 1 when inputs are either 3 or 5 or 6 or 7. For these inputs B is 1. For these inputs A is 1. You have to construct a circuit. If you want to construct a circuit using PROM, if you want to construct, the arrangement is given here. A 3:8 decoder is taken, 3 inputs x, y, z. In these two cases x, y, z are the variables inputs x, y, z, that is those are connected to 3:8 decoder. When x, y, z both are, all three are zeros, then M0 will be activated. When it is 0, 0, 1, M1 will be activated, 0, 1, 0, M2 will be activated, 0, 1, 1, M3 will be activated. Like that, as per the corresponding input, that particular output will be activated. Here already it is fixed. For 5, 6, 7, A should be 1. So simply what we have done, 5, we have taken OR gate, okay, OR gate that is connected to 5, 6, 7. This X mark indicates that there is a connection. A switch is connected here, switch is connected. So this A is connected to only 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7. So you will get, you have the flexibility. You can connect this OR gate to 3, 2. If in the problem it demands, you can connect to 3 and 2 also. But here, this side it is fixed. OR gate side you have flexibility. So OR gate, the first OR gate is connected to 5, 6, 7, and the second OR gate I am calling that output as B, and this OR gate is connected to 3, 5, 6, 7, 3, 5, 6, 7 for those. So it is very simple, and already gates are available, AND gates are available, OR gates are available. Okay. So according to the input that you are applying, you can connect the switches, you have the flexibility. Next, so PRAM implementation, suppose for example if you want to implement full adder, so you know the full adder circuit. In the full adder you have two outputs, sum and carry. Sum will become 1 when inputs are 1, 2, 4, 7 for 1, or 2 for 4 and 7 for these 4 cases sum is 1. Carry will be 1 when 3 for the cases of 3, 5, 6, 7. Just these things we implemented here. So a 3:8 decoder is taken, A, B, C as inputs, and outputs, 8 output lines are there. So this first OR gate is producing output sum, second OR gate is producing output carry. The first OR gate sum is connected with 1, 2, 4, 7, 1 here, 2, 4 and 7. Only connection for this OR gate is from 1, 2, 4 and 7, 1, 2, 4, 7 connected. And carry, this OR gate is carry, it produces carry. So this is connected to 3, 5, 6, 7, 3, 5, 6, 7. Very simple to construct. Once you know the logic and once you know what are the inputs should be connected to get the particular output, then implementation is very easy. Similarly, if you take PAL, programmable array logic, in programmable array logic, AND gates are programmable, OR gates are fixed. OR gates are fixed. Just look at here, here one expression is given to you, A is equal to xy plus xz bar E. So this can be written as xy plus xz bar. And another expression is, actually this is B, this is not A, this is B. B is equal to xy bar plus yz bar. If you want to implement these two, in these two cases if you look at here, so this OR gate side these things are already fixed. Okay, so that is why we have taken inputs like this x, y, z, this is x bar, y bar, z bar, all combinations are taken, and input side we have the flexibility here, we have to connect x, y. So a AND gate is taken, okay. So AND gate is taken, it is connected to x and y. So this AND gate is connected to x and y, and next AND gate is connected to x and z bar. xy is connected to first AND gate, and xz bar is connected another AND gate. And next coming to this AND gate, here it is x y bar, x and y bar. So here this side flexibility you have, you can make connection at any location, and that is connected to third AND gate. And fourth AND gate we require y into z bar. This is y, this is z bar. These two are connected to this AND gate. So here you have the flexibility. Whatever expression is given, according to that expression, you have connected. Input side you have connected. Output side, these OR gates are already fixed. This OR gate should be connected to only outputs of these two AND gates only. This is already fixed. So whatever logic you want to implement with this OR gate, you have to take from first two AND gates only. This is fixed. And whatever logic you want to implement here, that should be, you have to get from these two AND gates only. That is why these two AND gates are taken for this particular expression, and these two AND gates are taken for this expression. So this is the way of constructing a particular logic using PAL. Next, and suppose if this kind of expression is given to you, sum and carry, that also you can implement here. Okay, you can take all these combinations, and for those combinations, sum you will get for this combination and carry you will get for this combination, and accordingly you can make the connections. Okay, so these are the AND gate connections. So this AND gate is connected to A bar, B bar, C. This AND gate is connected to A, B bar, C bar. Like that, whatever expression is given to you, whatever sum of product based expressions are given, accordingly all these AND gates are connected, and first 4 AND gates are connected to this OR gate, and remaining 3 AND gates are connected to this OR gate. So these are fixed. These OR gates where to connect, that is fixed, but this AND gates where to connect, that you can change. And the next one is the programmable logic array, the CAD category. Programmable logic array, AND gates are programmable and OR gates also programmable. So, according to this expression, x is equal to AB plus AC bar is given, and y is equal to AB bar plus BC plus AC bar is given. Two expressions are given. Here you have flexibility on both sides. Just look at here, A, B, C, A bar, B bar, C bar taken, all input combinations are taken, and where you want to connect these AND gates, that you have the flexibility, you can connect at any location, and this OR gates also you have the flexibility. Whatever expressions you have, AB, AC bar, those two, and AB bar, BC bar, all those expressions you have the flexibility to connect. So, these OR gates are connected according to the expression, whatever expression is given, flexibility. Just look at the first OR gate is only connected to AB and AC bar. This is producing AB, this is producing AC bar. So, only two connections. But if you look at Y is having three combinations, AB bar, B plus BC plus AC bar. So, this is AB bar, this is BC, this is AC bar. These three are connected to this OR gate. So, here in the programmable logic array, you have the flexibility at input side as well as at the output side. So, same sum and carry, if you want to implement a full adder, if you want to implement, you can implement using PLA. So, just look at this arrangement, we know the expressions. Accordingly, input side we made the switches, we made the connections for the switches, and output side also this sum should be connected to which AND gate, that is fixed, and carry should be connected to which AND gates, which what outputs of the AND gate, that is also fixed, and those AND gates are connected, and this is producing a full adder circuit, programmable logic array based full adder circuits. So, these are the programmable logic devices. In the programmable logic devices also simple programmable logic devices. So, like PROM, like PLA and PAL. Okay. And we have the flexibility in PLA, programmable logic array, we have the flexibility, AND gate side you have the flexibility, OR gate side also you have the flexibility. And apart from this, we have CPLDs and FPGAs, complex programmable logic device, and field programmable gate arrays. So, those also comes under programmable logic devices.